everybody to episode 119 of the Hunger for the Hustle podcast. I am welcomed today by my friend, my brother, my fellow co-author, Jay Reace, back on the show. Third time lucky. Great to have you here, bro. How you doing today?
Oh, yo, thanks for having me, Jake. And, man, I am pumped. That intro music, dude, I felt like I was in the club. You brought me back to the days when I used to DJ, man. I was jamming.
Because I can see you, because we're using StreamYard here, guys, and you can see people in the green room on their camera before they come up on here. And I could, Jay was literally raving away there, and I was thinking, it's actually good music, isn't it? That thing, I got that free off YouTube.
So. It really is, man. Yo, I'm about to steal that track from you somewhere, man, because, I was bumping it.
You just go on YouTube and you download, you put in 3-minute countdown timer or however long countdown timer you're looking for.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be pulling back the curtain on some of this stuff. Most importantly, the book, which was Hunger for the Hustle, Volume 1, open brackets, stories of struggles to success, close brackets, was launched just 2 days ago. I'm a little bit delirious with the times because I ended up, I think I had about 4 or 5 hours sleep on Friday night, and then the launch started at 3 a.m. for me and finished at 9 a.m. on Saturday.
Which, I know you're going to ask me.
So it was hectic,
Yeah. I know you're going to ask me, like, several questions, but, like, let me ask you real quickly. How were you feeling right before the launch? Like, what was going on? Like, were you nervous? The butterflies? Because, oh, man, you had to be overly excited.
Well, we had some technical issues, right? And I kind of knew those technical issues were going to happen before we went on, but it was just too late for me to do anything about it. So I was just feeling, if I'm honest, super stressed, super anxious, but excited as well.
Oh, great.
But it just made me realise, even if you've done 118 of the podcasts, don't try new stuff out when you're doing a live launch 6-hour show. Just work with what you've already got. But look,
fair enough.
It played out. It kind of. So in answer to your question, I was feeling pretty. I was like a rat in a cage, man. I was just like, just kind of excited for it to play out, but knowing that this one thing wasn't right. We could get the video over because we were using Zoom, and then I was sharing the screen from Zoom on the computer to StreamYard at the same time, and I could get the video over. Couldn't get the audio over, and it was just heartbreaking to see it happen. But the good thing is everything has been recorded. It's all in different parts because it was on 3 different people's computers across the world. But we're going to stitch that together, and on the live links that went out, we're going to plug it into there, so people will still get it. But you just learn from these things, right? There'll be a latter part of the launch for the physical book, and on that one, I'll make sure I've got it right and sorted for them. But apart from that, man, we had so much fun, didn't we? We had so much fun.
Oh, man, like, I wasn't able to stay for, like, the whole 6 hours, but for the time I was there, dude, I laughed so much, and not even just laugh, just being able to listen to other people's stories and why they wrote their stories. Dude, I can't wait to actually, like, finish reading. I got to read, like, a few chapters already, but I'm super excited. I can't wait to read the rest of the book.
Well, let's get on to that. The book, guys, is, as I said, Hunger for the Hustle, Stories of Struggles to Success. 28 people's stories of struggles to success from all around the world: America, Canada, the UK, Australia. I think that pretty much covers it. But I mean, that's a big enough spread, right? It's a lot of people. But all the stories are, of course, unique, of course, their own, but they're all heartfelt. They're all like, they go all the way in there, in there. And your story is no different, Jay. The title of yours is, of course, when I swapped my tie for a cape. Oh, what happened there? Something strange just happened on my... sorry. The title of your chapter is Life Got Better Once I Swapped My Tie for a Cape.
All right.
And like... Sorry, something just happened weird on my end. I thought I'd lost you for a second. Life got better when I swapped my tie for a cape. I mean, that just makes you want to read. You're like, what does that mean? I want to read that. So... take us... we're going to give you a bit of structure, guys, on what we're going to go through here if you're watching this live or later. we're going to go into the writing of a chapter from both of our sides, because Jay wrote his own book, brought out his own book in August 2020, Legacy, a Scion series, which is a great book. It's a very different book to the one we're working on today, and we'll get into that. But the writing process on both sides, then we're going to get into the publishing process on both sides. And then we'll take any questions at the end, and we're going to have fun along the way, because we want to try and... We've both done this now.
I mean, have we ever been together that we haven't had fun?
Curtains. No. I think it's part of the main reason why we're both such good friends, right? We always just have good fun. Right. Yeah, just from the get-go, it's always been that way. Yeah. So it's funny because apart from my mom and my sister and my friend Wayne, there's only Aaron Grider. Out of those 28 people, I've only met 4 of them actually ever in real life. So I've never met Jay in real life. So he could actually
not yet. It's coming. It's coming.
It's coming. But he could be. He could have just been wearing a mask this whole time, and I don't actually know who he is. He could be someone else.
Like I'm Scooby doing it. Like I'm just gonna reveal the mask one day.
Yeah. So, your chapter, bro. Life got better when I swapped my tie for a cape.
Yes, sir.
What was that the instant when you thought about going for the chapter? Was that the first thing you went for? Did you draw it out straight away? Did it take a bit of time to work on that and come forth with it?
Oh, it definitely took a while. The chapter came from a speech that when you and I were in Power Voice together, I cultivated my chapter from that speech. And what happened was like the original speech was all about how I was just feeling like I was stuck for a very long time of being what other people wanted me to be. And then as we were going through the writing process for creating the chapter, I kept coming back to this idea of like how I love superheroes and how I have this idea of being grander than life kind of mentality. And I just realized that everybody's a superhero, if nothing else, in their own stories. And I just kept coming back to that idea, and I had to dig deep of like, well, why aren't I a superhero? Why aren't I living the life I want to live? Why am I not doing what I want and what I'm choosing to be? And it just came down to because I was living up to these expectations that I felt other people wanted me or needed me to be, and I had to let that go, for lack of better words. It got to the point where there was a lot of times where I remember growing up, my parents and loved ones, they were just projecting their own fears onto me because they felt that was their way of keeping me safe, or that was their way of showing me love. So in the chapter, I even explained how there's a moment where my father sat me down because as a kid, I was very flamboyant. I was doing all these different things that weren't normal for our house and for the people we were around. And my father just took me aside and was like, hey, you know what? Maybe you just need to be more like us and stop doing a lot of the things that you're doing. And I took that to heart because, again, this was my father, and he wasn't the only one who said stuff like that to me. Like uncles, aunts, my mother, everybody constantly wanted me to be something that I felt I wasn't. Till it got to the point of later on in life when I'm working a 9-to-5 job, and I was trying to be so much of a people pleaser that even my bosses and my supervisors were expecting certain things from me that weren't necessarily me. So it got to the point where I was depressed. I was suicidal to a point, and I just had to make a change. Luckily, at that point in my life, there are a lot of people around me that I could trust, that I would talk to, and they just helped me realize that, look, you are worth more than what you're giving right now, and we're going to figure this out. And that kind of helped transition my life to be what it is now. And everybody, we have lost Jake. Jake has stepped away
I'm still
for a
here.
little bit.
I'm still here. I'm still here.
Oh, there you are.
Here.
Okay.
I was just letting you. I was just letting you take control, man. Look.
Oh.
That's you. That's
Okay. Good.
That's me. That's me.
Oh, I love it. Oh, wow. I was worried. I was like, okay, where's Jake?
I'm just all it is that my skills are so good at this now. You're blown away that when I disappear, you think you've lost me. Yeah. So
I really did. Yeah.
Look, what I was going to say to you was,
yeah.
Who were those? Who was setting those expectations that you felt you had to live up to? But you laid it out right there. It was essentially, your parents and kind of on your father without any. I'm sure you didn't have any malicious intentions, but I think sometimes when and I don't know this because I'm not a parent, but you even you say, I know from saying it to other people who look up to you. Sometimes because they hold you in really high regard. Sometimes
Absolutely.
You can say things and they really stick with them, and you don't realise that at the time. You don't realise the impact you've had because they really value you and they think your word is golden, right? So they say things to you like, you should calm down, you should settle down, and you're like, oh, I thought I was good, and then you kind of get. It affects you more than a surface level, and really.
Absolutely.
Right?
And to bring this like even closer to home, I felt that I was doing a great job with my children, and that I was not projecting my own fears and my own wants onto my kids. And my daughter is a very independent young lady. She's growing up to be. I'm just proud of her every moment she's alive, and she works a 9-to-5 job, and she handles her own bills. She's paying her stuff. She doesn't ask for much of anything. And I happened to tell her that one day, like, honey, I'm so proud that you're independent. You're handling your own stuff. You don't have to ask me and your mother for money. You got it. You're handling it. Great job, right? I'm thinking I'm just giving congratulations and kudos. Come to find out, a couple weeks, maybe a month later, me and her had a conversation where she breaks down and starts crying, and like it wasn't just because of something I had said, but like she had some personal things going on in her life, and she came to me and she was like, Daddy, like I just don't know what to do. Like I have so much going on. Christmas is here. I gotta buy you a gift, mommy a gift, my friends a gift, my brother a gift. Like, and she's just rattling off, and I'm like, honey, whoa, slow down. First of all, you can always ask me for help. If you need money to help someone to buy a gift, you can ask me for help. And she's like, well, you just told me how proud you were of me, and I don't want to ask. And I'm like, well, I get what you're saying, but trust me, like I want to just let you know that I'm proud of you, but you can always ask me for help. So I had to go back and what's the word? I had to go back and just reaffirm or change kind of what I had told her. Like, look, you can still ask me for help, but long-winded answer to just simply say, sometimes you don't even realize that you're projecting until that person comes to you and says, hey, this is what happened, or this is the way I feel. So sometimes we don't even know. And I'm sure my parents didn't know at the time that's what they were doing.
No, exactly right. And it's just how things turn out. Words are powerful. Words are powerful. Mm-hmm. And it's in the beginning. What do they say? In the beginning, there was the word. It's the basis of all things and everything. So, I think that, and we know that. We've done a fair amount of speaking. Mm-hmm. This is our third podcast in, and we all did our part at the weekend there, which was fantastic, and we got some great results from it. But let's talk about the actual writing process. Okay, Jay. I mean, you wrote, and we'll go back to your book, and then we'll come up to the present day Hunger for the Hustle book. But your book, Legacy, a Scion series, which is a fantastic sci-fi book. I'll be honest, guys, I wasn't a big sci-fi kind of guy, but I read Jay's book and I really enjoyed it. Partly because I know Jay and I've never met his family, but I know the names of his family, and I know that the characters in there represented the members of his family. Yeah. And I think it was a really well written book. And I've said this before about the book, but it's true. To me, it works the same with stories, but the same with books. You know when it's good because it draws that picture in your head. You can see it in your mind as you read it, and your book certainly did that for me. But how long did that take you to write? It's a maybe 200, 2,500 page book, something like that?
Yeah, it's I want to say it's about 236 pages, I believe it is. And to answer your question, I believe it took me about 2.5 years to write. From the start of conception to actually the publishing.
Yeah, and that makes sense because it's a detailed book, and there's parts in it that you've got to, which for all intents and purposes, it must have made Hunger for the Hustle feel like it was a walk in the park. Because with your book, of course, you read the whole thing to start with, but then there was, you've got to make sure this bit works, so that bit works, because here's the start of the narrative, which ties into the middle and the end, and there's a lot of moving parts with it. It's, it'd be a whole different creative process. But were the parts that you got what they call the writer's block along the way, and did you get that with Legacy?
Yes, I did. In the beginning, when I first was trying to write, I kept thinking it had to be perfect. I was that kind of writer that I would write a few paragraphs or a chapter, and then I would go back and read it and try to change what I thought was imperfections. And then I listened to a speech from Stephen King where he's telling the crowds, like, hey, the first time you write a novel, the first time you write your draft, you're telling the story to yourself. Every time you go back and edit it, you're polishing it, making it better and better and better to tell it to other people. And once I heard that, I didn't really experience much writer's block after that, because at that point, I would often just let the words flow out, and then I would clean everything up in the editing process. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are days where it's a challenge to figure out what my mind is trying to say to put on the paper. But as far as not having ideas, I'm fortunate and I'm blessed that I get ideas and stuff all the time.
So it was just a constant flowing process throughout them 2 years. Because a lot of people talk about this, and I know I got this with the Hunger for the Hustle chapter. I got to a point where I was like, what I'm actually? I think they call it writer's block. People also call it what do they call it? Imposter syndrome. And you're like, am I good enough for this? Should I actually be doing this? Like, is this real? Is this me? Like, what? Almost like, what right do I have to put out this story into the world? And also, like, the pressure of, is it? And I felt that with Hunger for the Hustle, because I knew, of course, creating it, how good the chapters were, and that mine had to be up to standard with those. And like the pressure of, like, is it good enough? Are people actually going to want to read it? Are they actually going to like it?
Well, I can tell you now, bro.
You must have got that with.
Oh, absolutely. Imposter syndrome is real, and I don't care what level of success you reach for yourself. You're always going to have it. There's always going to be this voice for some reason in the back of our minds that just makes us feel like we're not there yet. Like, I don't know whether that's a part of the driving factor or what it is. And I've spoken to authors who have 5, 8, 20 books, and they're still at a point where they're just like, I'm never going to be at that point. And I'm like, you got 20 books. How could you say you're not at that point? But it's just, I think it's just one of those things that it's just always there. It's, for some reason, we have this negative voices in our minds. It's just humans that we have to learn how to be, just to be able to tell that voice, like, you know what, sit down. I got this right now. I'll talk to you later. Right now, I got to work. So it's just a part of the process, I guess. Yeah. But I feel you. Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of the reason those negative voices are there, because they come from our caveman types when they were there to protect us. You know, it was like,
I can agree
watch
with that.
out for this thing, be careful of that thing, because it's going to kill you. That thing can eat you, or you could have an accident here and you're dead. But in the modern day, those things really don't serve us that well anymore. So you have an awful lot of these negative thoughts that don't serve you at all. I actually think, though, in a funny sort of way, and I mean, I got someone to help me with my chapter, and we'll get onto that in a bit. It got to the point where I needed some help, and I think that it serves you in a way, though, doesn't it? Even you speak to people who've done 20 books, and they've still got that hunger, they've still got that curiosity, they've still got that slight anxiety or worry, if you want to call it that, that it might not be quite good enough. But that keeps you in the game, that keeps you in the arena, and it keeps you
absolutely.
trying hard to make sure that you're producing the best work you can. Instead of getting, I guess the opposite of that is becoming complacent and being like, it doesn't matter what I write, it's going to be great, everyone's going to love it. And that's a danger zone.
Oh yeah, I agree completely. If you're at a point where there isn't some level of fear or anxiety or nervousness, then you probably shouldn't be doing this anymore. And that's just my personal take. I mean, I can't speak for authors like Stephen King or Stephanie Myers, but there has to be a point where we get to that we can just, contain those voices and be able to manage them, but they're still there. I don't never want to be in a place where those voices or those feelings aren't there, because as you said, I would be complacent at that point, and I don't think I ever want to be that way.
Yeah, complacency doesn't serve anyone. I got stuck in that for a while there, but and the process for, you said hunger for the hustle. You pulled it out straight away. It was already in the locker. You know, it was something that you did. You say you discussed as a result? We definitely talked about that before. You know, I remember the first show we did. We talked about your military career, and then we talked about the fact that you got into an office working in a cubicle, and it was just literally grinding you down every day. So you pulled that out pretty evidently. For me, it wasn't that quite that black and white. I knew I wanted to write about a journey and a story, but I wasn't quite sure what that journey and story was going to be. And then I was like, well, it should be, the what has been the biggest challenge in my life thus far, that I'm probably happy to talk about, which was moving to Australia, and figuring out that I wanted to be, I wanted to not work for someone else and achieve my own.
So let me ask, when you were writing your chapter, first of all, let me ask, have you ever heard the term pantser and plotter?
No.
Okay. So in writing terms, if you're a plotter, that usually means that you outline, and then you usually follow your outline pretty rigorously, right? And if you're a pantser, you kind of just start writing and let the story unfold. I tend to be a combination of both. Like, I tend to outline my stuff, and then I just let the story go where it's going to go. When you were writing yours, do you feel like you would have been better doing more of an outline or just going with the flow? Because I know you were saying that how you had an idea.
Yeah, no, sorry, go on. I think there's a little bit of a delay between us, so yeah, we'll just let it be.
No, I was just asking, do you feel that you were better outlining or just going with the flow of where you thought the story was going to go?
I think I did both, and then I went with the outlining, because my story tells of how I got to Australia and the realisation of don't want to work for someone else. How am I going to figure out doing my own thing? And how that all played out. But then drawing parallels with my great uncle Bud Russell, who got to Australia 85 years to the day almost before me, to the same city, to Melbourne. He came in on the boat, took him 3 months. I came in on the plane, took me 20 to 23 hours. Yeah. And he was an entrepreneur, he was a hustler. He started his own golfing brand and used to make his own golf clubs and was way ahead of his peers at the time, and was a very successful man. They lined the streets when he passed in 1997. I was speaking to someone who knew him very well. But so in that, I guess inherently through what this topic of the story was, I wasn't the prancer. I was the what was the other one? The plotter.
Plotter.
I was the plotter. Yeah, plotter. And I knew, I was like, okay, so we're going to start with Bud's story, with him arriving. Then we're going to pull into my story. Then we're going to pull back into his, and then mine, and then I think I drew parallels between, and then I closed out with my story. And of course, which everyone kind of did. That last bit was, that's been my story. Now here's what I have to teach you. So you don't make the same mistakes I made, or here's the value that I found in that journey. So, yeah, I think there was definitely, it was definitely more of an outline thing to me than, and it was important to do it in that way. But I got halfway through, I would say, well, and I was being very. It took you 2 years to write that book. It took 2 years to get this one out as well, almost to the day. Almost to the day. It took 2 years. Now there was a few reasons for that, and it'd be cool to go into them here actually. One of them was there was originally 35 people involved. We got down to 28. It was just a lot of work trying to get. I mean, imagine trying to get 28 people to. This is a good analogy, right? Imagine you've got a big family event and you've got 28 people and you just want to get them in a photo. You know, everyone watching knows how bloody hard that takes sometimes, right? Just to get everyone in the position, photo taken, and then you've got to get a good photo. No one with the eyes shut, no one with the mouth half open. You know, everyone. It's hard work. Now, imagine trying to get 28 people that aren't even in the same room, that aren't even on the same continent, that definitely aren't in the same time zone to get to do the same thing. So that was a thing.
Yeah.
And then go.
No, I was just gonna say that it's funny because we were sharing a text chain through this whole process, and a lot of times I would be silent because I have a habit now of I like to listen more than I speak. So normally you and several other people who were part of the project would lay out what we needed to do as the authors and the contributors to this project, right? And I would read that, and then I would just sit back and watch the different conversations that either one be about what you just said, or two had nothing to do with anything that pertained to this particular subject. And I was just like, wow, bless Jake. Bless him with the patience and the courage to herd all these cats, because, dude... I had it wasn't funny, but it was funny just to sit back and just watch the whole process. It really was.
It was funny. It was funny. You put some things in the group, and I I'm sure some of the guys will watch this. I love you all, but you put a question in the group, and people just come up with like, hey, has everyone shared this? And then someone's just like, oh, happy Tuesday, everyone. Rah, which is great, but no one's answered my question. No one's answered my question, and I still don't know if anyone shared it all. So there was a lot of that, and there was, patience definitely improved my it was grew my emotional ingredients throughout this process, which has been fantastic. Patience, leadership, understanding, collaboration, compassion, empathy. There's a whole. And different varyings, compassion and empathy, because there was a whole wide age range in that group of authors. There was me, I think was probably, no, I wasn't the lowest, because Jade, my sister's younger than me. She's just 30. Yeah, so, and then there's me, then right up to, Dr. David Spencer, who's up in his 70s up there. I think he'd be... Wow. Sorry, Dave, but I think you're our oldest.
And see, I was thinking that he was in his 50s. He's 70. Wow, he looks good. Okay.
Shoot. I hope he. No, he must be. He was born in the 60s. He was born in the 60s. So if you were born in the 60s, would you be? If you're born in the 60s, 40. Yeah,
he's about 70. Yeah,
he's getting close. He's getting close.
Yeah.
So the different what I'm getting at is different variations of technical ability within that.
Right.
So sometimes the things that I was asking people to do, hey guys, get this link, share this. To me, it's just it's child's play. To anyone else, they would actually struggle with what I was asking them to do.
Of course.
It didn't matter how many times I said, hey guys, if you've got any questions or if you need any help, just ask me. Some people knew how much I had going on and didn't. So,
I think that's the I'm trying to think of an appropriate word here. I think that is the greatness of how you all were leading this particular group, because there were so many diverse people, and we're not just talking about race, just like how you were just saying. You had different ages, different genders, different backgrounds, different cultures, different time zones. There are so many different factors. You guys were juggling 20 million different kinds of issues in the air. But every time a problem arose or something would happen, you guys would be able to solve it with, to my viewpoint, very minimum issues. That makes sense?
I think so. I think we managed it pretty well. I think we managed it pretty well, and I think that I think your dog's about to eat the postman, Jay.
I was hoping you guys couldn't hear that, but
you can only hear it a little bit. You can only hear it a little bit, so it's good.
My apologies, everyone. My wife just walked outside. She's probably going somewhere, and the dogs followed her, and it's a whole thing. So they'll settle down in a second or two.
Mayhem. There's a postman without an arm in Tennessee today, I can tell you that. Yeah, no, you can only hear it a little bit, so it's all good. Yeah. I'm sure the folks can. It shows we're live and it's raw and it's authentic. Yeah. I'm used to it. I've done that many of these now. Funny things always happen. But getting back to what we were talking about there, I think that, thanks, man. I think we managed it fairly well, all being given. I managed to, I'm a pretty cool, pretty calm, collected guy, but I was like, I actually did some journaling this morning. On that point, fantastic new journal I've got called the 6-Minute Diary. You do 3 minutes in the morning, 3 minutes in the evening. I'll send you a link afterwards, but anyone else check it out. It's called Create Your Best Self, the 6-Minute Diary. I'll actually drop it in the comments later, but I was writing this morning. I was like, I did really well. I kept my cool throughout this whole thing. Didn't lose my shit with anyone. And I was like, because you could have. But, you don't, and you stay on track. Yeah, you don't, and you stay on track, and we got the results. We got the results. We achieved the goal.
I mean, to be fair, anytime you're working in a group, particularly a large group, you're going to have different temperaments, and some people, I'm not going to say you don't get along, but you're going to have different ways of doing things, and you just got to learn how to roll with the punches, right? But as you said, at the end of the day, the product is out. Things got done, and it's a #1 international bestseller, baby. Yeah.
Hey, look who we got here. We got Joanna Clare here. Good morning.
Hey, Joanna.
Another co-author in the book.
Good
Joanna,
morning.
Hope you're good.
Yeah.
Let us know how you're feeling, Joanna. I know you got Joanna. I believe was Love You Too, girl. I believe that Joanna got double. She was in 2 books this week and got 2 books got released and was bestseller in both of them, which is epic.
Wow, congratulations, Joanna, man.
Kicking goals. Yeah. So I think that, but there's another part which I dialed into in the live a bit, but it's really important, and we're always so honest and open about it on this. In fact, we did a mental health special March last year. It was year before, maybe, I don't know. Can't remember when, but we did one. And the other part of why it took so long was because about midway through the project, I sunk into a deep, dark depression, and it was really difficult. And life became like just treading. Every day was like treading in the mud, and I lost passion and I lost drive and motivation for all my projects, to be honest. And it was horrible because, and I just couldn't. I just came to the sensible decision that what I needed to focus on was getting my health right first. Once I got that right, then I could lend my time to projects and indeed people, and it took a while. It took a good and a good trip around the world to sort that out, and I did in the end. I got there, and you know what? I'm really grateful that it all happened, because I'm so much more better equipped now for life and so much stronger for going through it, and you have it's cheesy, but they say it, it's true. You have to go through it to grow through it. I think that features in the book somewhere, but it's not a nice thing. Depression. It's scary. It's lonely, and it's horrible. I had the right people around me to help me, and in fact, love to you, brother. You were one of them people, as well as my family and my friends. But that was part of, quite honestly, a big reason why the book took so long to get out, because I remember getting to about 3 or 4 months of being like that, maybe even longer, and just messaging everyone. I think I put a video in the group, and I was like, "Hi everyone, just honest from me here. This is what's been going on, and this is why it's taken so long." And it's funny because you get stuck behind that mask of fear that I don't want to tell people how I'm feeling.
Right.
I don't want to tell people why this is taking so long. And
Yeah.
the second you do,
Mm-hmm.
everyone is, of course, kind, compassionate, and understanding to you.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, that was a big part of, what was making me worried and stressed. And it was building the anxiety, which combined with, the feeling of depression. And I didn't really need to feel like that. So I think that my message in that is like, if you are feeling like that, just voice it to those around you, because you probably will be surprised how many other people have felt the same at some point. And it is true what they say, a problem shared is a problem halved. So I think it's important to speak up about them things. We're always both, always good, and to open up about that, and to inspire other people to do the same. So I think that that's a big part of why it took so long.
Yeah, as you said, we had an episode. You invited me to talk about depression and some things I had went through when I was working in the corporate world. Because, like you, I went through a spiral of depression where, in fact, I was actually contemplating just killing myself, just because I wasn't happy. I wasn't doing what I felt I was called to do. And similar to you, I had to reach out to people that were around me that I felt loved me. And luckily, they just took me with open arms and was like, hey, we're going to get through this. We're going to figure out how to get you to a place where you need and want to be. But again, to piggyback on what you're saying, yeah, anybody who's feeling like you're just in a place where you don't want to be, start talking to those people around you that you feel comfortable and safe around. And if you don't have anybody like that, there are a plethora of hotlines to call. There are websites. There are resources available to you. But I'm more than positive you would be surprised that if you reach out to the people that you feel comfortable and safe with, even a coworker for that matter, they will reciprocate 9 times out of 10. Just the love and positivity that you're probably needing and looking for. Depression is a very stigmatic thing that we don't talk about because, that person has it. There's all kind of crazy things and thoughts that people have around it, but reach out and talk to people. That's the bottom line. If you just reach out and talk to people, you will find that. I'm not saying that will get rid of the problem. I'm not saying that'll be an easy fix or a solution, but that'll definitely be one of the first step that you need to take to get into a better spot.
Yeah, I agree, and all for that, and well said. And I think just voicing it, just getting it from here out through here. Oh, so much better, so much more relieving. And also, I think for me, it's often removing yourself out of the environment you're in. The environment can be a big thing. A big thing. But so I got the block, and in that time I started seeing a new therapist that was recommended to me, and she was fantastic. Her name, I know I can share it, and anyone you can Google search this lady. She's very well known, and is actually a great author as well. Her name's Emiliana Silvestri. She's a fantastic therapist, and has helped to better myself and work through some of these things that were just being a pain in the ass in my life, and stopping me being myself, essentially. And actually, Emiliana helped me with my chapter in the end. She was like, so, I was like, one of the things is how mad's that? My therapist helped me with my chapter. It's not what you're really working with them to do, but I mean, that's what I thought was really cool, that she was just like, okay, well, that's you're struggling with that. Well, I've wrote a couple of good books, so you send it to me and we'll workshop it together. And it wasn't actually that much of it needed changing. It was just that I just knew I wasn't happy with it, and there were parts of it that needed to be taken
flushed out, right?
Flushed. Some needed flushed out, and some needed fleshed out. I think is a good way to put it. So, I like that. It's good that the things you come up with.
And anybody out there, like, please, like, if you feel you need a therapist, get a therapist. Even if you don't feel like you need a therapist, get a therapist. Trust me, it works wonders. And if you find yourself getting a therapist that you don't connect with, get a different therapist. Don't just stop going. Get a different therapist. It's like any other relationship. Like, the first one you get might not work out the best. Get another one. Or seek another one.
Yeah, it's like going to the shop, getting some clothes off the rack and going to the changing rooms. You try a few different ones, right? You don't just go with the first one, and even if it doesn't fit well, you don't buy it, you don't pay for it, you don't take it out of the shop. You try a few different things until you get the right fit, and I think that's important. Yeah, I've had a few. I've actually been quite lucky. All the therapists I've had, I've connected with in the first instance and seen them for a couple of years. But for me now, it's just part of being a healthy adult. It's just a part, an ingredient to my life that keeps me healthy, and having someone who's external, who's away from all your family, away from all your friends, away from all your business projects.
And in part,
offload on, so valuable.
Impartial voice to just talk to and get feedback from is invaluable by far.
Excuse me. Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. So we got past the writing bit. We got our chapters in, and I was, I'll be honest and say I was one of the last ones to get my chapter in there. I know that's the truth. Apart from them people who came to me, and I know Jay won't mind me saying this. She might even watch this at a later point. Jay came to me, my sister, and said to me, and fair play to her for saying it, but this was like a week or a week and a half before we were due to be publishing, and she was like, look, I'm not happy with my chapter. And I was like, I knew you weren't. I knew she wasn't, because she just wasn't being super responsive in my communications about things, and I could see she wasn't enthused. And I was about to ask, I was about to say, hey, what's going on? Like, are you not happy with something? And she goes, and she must have sensed it. Me and you have this it's almost telepathic connection with the people that are close to you. Your spirit is kindred with them. And she said, hey, I'm not happy with my chapter. And I was like, she was like, can we work on it? I was like, of course, if we need to rewrite the whole thing, we can do it. She sent me her original one in an email, because she had worked with an editor on it, and it wasn't that the editor hadn't done a fantastic job. They had, but it just didn't sound like Jade. It didn't feel like Jade. It wasn't authentic. So we workshopped it. She sent me it. I sent it back. She sent it me, and then we had a few long Zooms where we were like, okay, went through it, and it was a fantastic chapter. So it was late coming in, but of course, the actual. Let's get into the actual brass tacks of, like, how did you write yours, Jay? Did you write it in a notepad and then take them notes onto some kind of word processor on a computer, or did you write it all on a word processor? How did it look for you?
Oh, I do a combination of different things. So, in a perfect down, I would just be able to sit down at my desk and just start writing. However, ideas come to me all the time. I'm very fortunate that way. So I get my phone out and I just take notes on my phone. And then when I can get back to my desk, I just transfer it to my desk. But yeah, the ideas come from everywhere. When I'm standing at line at a grocery store or wherever I'm at, if ideas come to me, I write them down right there. Any pastime, sometimes when I'm watching TV, something will come to me and I'll just start writing. It's a habit that I've gotten. Not all my ideas make it to the final product, of course, but I'd rather write my ideas down to have something to draw from later versus just letting those ideas just go off into the wind and disappear forever. So that tends to be my mindset.
That's great. I like that. And I mean, that probably aligns more. I was going to say that aligns more with writing non-fiction, but actually in voicing that, I don't think that's true, because ideas can come to us at any time. I think I say that in the respect of non-fiction, because you can see something happen, like while you're at the supermarket, and you'd be like, oh, imagine if I tied that weird or crazy thing or event I've just seen, or that quirk from this person at the counter into this character in the book. Anything can inspire you in that way. But I know what a lot of people do is, when they get their ideas, they record it on a voice note, on their phone. And a lot of, all phones now, you can record in voice and it dictates it for you to text.
Yeah. I keep meaning to try that feature, because like for a long time I didn't want to do the voicemail, because that means I would have to listen to it and then type, versus me typing it in my phone and then just sending it and copying and pasting it where I need it to be in my document. But voice to text, I need to personally start doing that more often, because I think that might be a handy way of doing things, or at least a quicker way of doing things.
What do you use? Do you use iPhone or Android?
Yeah, I have an iPhone.
Yeah, so it's built into iPhone. It's in the voice note section. You select a certain thing when you record the voice note, and it literally writes it out and saves both for you. So it's a really especially if you're driving. You know, if you're driving, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's a good idea. So I think that's a really good tip actually for anyone watching this. Like if you, you know, not even if you're writing a book, if you're writing for anything, any reason.
I've heard
your
song
phone out while it comes to you and just record it and
Yes.
it's like a dictation device. Yeah, I think so.
A dictation device. Songwriters do it, like lyrics will come to them. I've heard of them doing similar things. People ideas for like meetings of stuff they want to talk about. It's just a good way to just remind yourself about an idea you had later on.
Because you're right in what you say. Some of those things are fleeting and they come and they go. You know, they come and and you're like, and then you can't remember it later. You're like, oh, that was such a good idea. And now it's gone.
I do admit though is that so for me, I don't write an idea when I first have it. So I tend to write ideas about the third or fourth time I've thought about it again. Because by that point I'm like, okay, that must be a good idea if I keep having it. Right? Or at least that's my process.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm just not... See, my process would have to be get it on the first time because it's probably not going to come around again. You know, just like... it's like, get it while you can. Get it while you can while the price is right. Oh, it's gone. Do you know what I mean? I guess that's just a result of having 100 things going on at once and sometimes quite a noisy mind. But I think, I think that could be a great way to write. But, you know, of course, then then you get it down onto what, like I was using, and this was the thing, we're getting to formatting, because I know we briefly talked about this before, formatting.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
Let me if you're watching this right now and you're working on a book, then you'll already know, or if you've already published one, you already know.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like, formatting and self-publishing and getting it up onto KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, Amazon's publishing format, is a headache. Just getting it so it can read perfectly on Word when you have it here.
Yeah.
But when you upload it to Amazon, it starts looking real wonky, and then you get it right on the phone, and then it looks wonky on the tablet, and then you get it right on the tablet, it looks wonky on the phone, and doesn't look right on Kindle. It's a headache, man. It's a real headache. You got to just like have patience for that.
YouTube was a university for me. It taught me like everything I needed to know about formatting. I'm still not perfect. I still have questions. Luckily, a lot of my documents are saved in the format that they need to be in. But if you were to ask me to do it again, I'd have to take a refresher course. I think that's the problem. But Amazon, to their credit, they do have a lot of tutorials on their website that you can use with them. Everybody's learning curve is a little bit differently. I found their tutorials useful, helpful. There were some other websites that I won't name that I had my book is uploaded through them. They're not as user friendly. Let's just keep it at that. So
clunky.
Yeah, by far. But for a lot of people out there, there are services you can go to where that company will format the book for you. You can trust them. You can use them. I didn't for my first book. I'm debating about doing it for my second book. I'll have to come back on and let you guys know how that went. So yeah, we'll see.
We'll get into that in a minute. Hey, we got our friend Pratibha here over here from Chai Together. Hey Pratibha, what up? Good to have you here. Hope you're well. Thanks for watching. So that you know, there we had it. It was a wrap. We got it onto Kindle. We got past all that, and it's out there now, guys. You know, you can buy this damn thing, and if you haven't bought it yet, why haven't you bought it? Give us your address. We come around your house to knock your door off.
Right, exactly. Kick that bad boy in.
I'm looking for some links, but I feel like they're not coming to me. So let me. I will find.
Which funny enough, a lot of challenges tend to keep people from doing what they want to do, or at least they feel like it does, right? And I was on TikTok, and this lady made a video about her trying to repurpose an old dresser. And in the audio, she's telling the story about how she would go and talk to her mother, and her mother would tell her, honey, everything's figure-outable. I didn't know how to do a thing, but everything is figure-outable. And ever since I heard that, I was like, everything is figure-outable. I just got to be patient. I can figure it out. It's figure-outable. So that's just one of my new mantras nowadays. Figure outable.
Figure outable. Yeah,
Figure
it's
outable.
good. It's a word. It kind of sticks as well. Kind of rolls off the tongue there.
Yeah.
I've just put a little link here in the comments, everybody, so you can see that. If you, I'm even going to get cleverer than that and try and show people what it. No, can I do that? Yes, I can do that. This is what it looks like, everyone. You're going to go to Amazon, whatever country you're in. This is what the book's going to look like. Jay, can we see that? Can you see that?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
This is a pretty looking book.
I told you StreamYard had got better, bro. I told you StreamYard has got better. This is it. Obviously, I've already purchased it. Yeah, just don't think just because I made and published this book, guys, I didn't purchase one myself. Of course I did. It's already got 6 reviews. It's been up there, not even 24 hours. You know, you can have a little sneak preview here. This will show you the first few pages. You can buy it for still $2.99. You're going to go into Kindle and buy it. Now, everyone's been asking, do I need Kindle to actually buy the book? Do I actually need a Kindle device? No, you don't. If you click that here, then what that's going to do is it's going to take your $2.99, £2.50, whatever country you're in, and then it's going to ask you to download the Kindle app so you can read it on any book, any phone, any tablet, any computer, anything. And yeah, if you have Amazon Prime or if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can even get it for free. So it won't cost you anything. So that is the book, guys, and make sure when you do read it, and if you do so like it, give it a review. And also notice this, we got me in there, we got Michael Bridgman, who's an absolute legend, who came up with the idea for the book to start with, and I said to him no, and he said, come on, let's do it. And I said, okay, let's do it. But we got Les Brown in here, look.
Right?
Les Brown, who wrote the foreword, who's featuring many books. You've Got to Be Hungry, is a fantastic book of his. I'm not sure he wrote these books. I think that might be a different Les Brown. I didn't know Les Brown had been writing about Second World War frigates. Doesn't seem like it would be his thing. But, Les Brown, the motivation legend. Les Brown, the man who is in fact why me and Jay know each other and why we even came to be friends. And it brought a lot of us together, right? So I think that's... big shout out to Les Brown, and he wrote the foreword for the book along with John Tallarico. But just letting you know, guys, you should buy your copy, and don't forget that the book also supports I'll get into that. Yeah, the book supports a charity called Beanie's Art, which is very close to my heart for a number of reasons, to be honest. One of them being that it helps small children who have a rare form of childhood cancer that they really don't know how to treat. And the proceeds from this book will go towards that charity to help them treat little kids better who really unfortunately have that rare form of cancer. But so also it's an investment in yourself, because there's stories in there that genuinely help you. It's the kind of book with so many different chapters that you're just going to want to pick up and read one here, read one there, fly into this, fly into that. So it's going to help you. It's going to help, quite frankly and honestly, it's going to help everyone who took part in the book, because it helps you to read their story, and there's all ways that you can contact each author inside the book as well, or via the website, which will link you to the Facebook group, which gives you direct access to the authors, and you supporting that charity in buying it, and also via buying the book. This is the cool thing about this. This is why it says Volume 1, because there's going to be a whole series of these books. You exclusively get chance by buying the book, and I don't know anyone else that's done this. Exclusively get chance by buying the book to feature in a future volume. Only if you buy the book, we actually ask you to send a picture of yourself with the book, etc. So I think that's pretty different, pretty special, and in buying something for $3 to get that much value is awesome. And we're only just getting started. We've got, that's the ebook version. We've got the real book, what do you got? The physical real paper, like book version one. You get that kind of thing going on with it, a real book, and then the audio book coming in the new year. So we're only just getting started. I like to think of this as like a 3-stage rocket, Jay. Is how I like to think of it.
I love it for the simple fact that I know years from now, decades from now, I'll be able to tell my grandkids, I was back in I was a part of book one. I was in the first book. I was there at the start, baby. And that's how I'm gonna sound. So yeah,
it's true. It's so true, and it's really cool because I was saying this to my sister Jade yesterday. I was saying she wrote a chapter about being a mother for the first time, and that came in COVID. So she literally just had a little boy, started getting into the motherhood groups and stuff, and then that all got ripped from under her feet because COVID came. So it was really challenging for her, of course. And I was saying, how cool is it going to be for the little man to read that story one day, and for his kids to read it and their kids to read it, because it's out there forever, and be like, and for his uncle to be in it and his grandmother to be in it. It's like it's really special. It's really cool, and I think that it's part of our legacy is what we create and put out, and be creative in any way that anyone's creative, whether that be music, whether it be dancing, singing, movie, film. Writing, publishing, books, news. Maybe we'll skip the news one. News is a bit more, the rest of it's what you put out into the world. Particularly if it ends up on the internet, it's there forever. It's literally there forever.
Well, do you know how I feel about legacy? So I'm all about passing something on to the next generation, after generation, after generation, particularly something tangible. There's nothing wrong with like passing morals down and stuff like that, but just something that your kids can give their kids, is just, to me, that's priceless. And that's what family, in my opinion, one of the things they should be about.
Yeah, I agree. And on that note, just in a timely manner, I've just dropped a link to Jay's book, which was released in August
thank you, sir.
2020,
Appreciate that.
Legacy, a Scion series. It's a great book. It's a great book, whether you like... it's a good book, of course, if you like sci-fi. I think it's also a good book if you've never if you've never read a sci-fi book before. I think Legacy is actually a really good place to start, because it's pretty light-hearted, right? It's not deep, dark. It gets a little bit dark towards the end, and the middle there. Some stuff goes on, and you're like, are these people? Is everyone going to live? Is everyone still with us here on this? But I think generally it's pretty like it's certainly more at the lighter end of things than it is the real. It's an easy read, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, there are some stories that I have in my digital realm on my laptop that are very adult and get very dark. But for my first time out, I wanted something my kids could read at the time that I was writing it. I wanted something that could be our legacy, that we could keep giving. And I just wanted to have a fun time. I believe that the way to teach people is usually through parables. I think that's the way a lot of people learn. And I try my best to put great values in this book that are taught through different types of stories, lessons that the characters learn throughout the story. And I just wanted something that everybody could read. Clearly I have a demographic that I was going for, but I wanted to make sure that in the same vein, it could be something like Disney would throw on Disney Plus nowadays, that is good for the whole family. They might have a target audience, but the whole family could walk away and have a piece of that legacy. So that was my intent.
I think you did it very well. You did it very well, mate. So, and let's wrap up on that. We'll be seeing the second legacy anytime soon. Is there a time scale for that? Is that still in the works? Should I even be asking you that question live on the internet?
Yes, now that we're live on the internet. Yes.
Yes. You can just say I decline to answer if you like. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Jake, you and I have been bros ever since we first started connecting, and you ask me a question, I'll always answer it honestly. So the sequel to Legacy is in the works. I can't give details about it yet, but it is in the works. The plan is that it will be published out by no later than mid-summer. That is the plan. So you heard it here, folks.
I like it. And you'll be self-publishing again?
That is correct. Just because I have nothing against people who like to traditional publish, but I like to be in control of my projects. And that is just something that I personally like. And so I'm going to self-publish again.
And you like to also, no doubt, get all the profits, right? Because that's a big part of it. In doing this project, success leaves clues, right? So what I did was, I thought, who do I know that's in my network that has already written a book that's been reasonably successful?
Yeah.
You know, and I spoke to one of my friends, Christian O'Connell, who's a big radio DJ on Gold FM, used to be in the UK and was the biggest breakfast show host there. Now he's in Australia. Okay. Great man, and gave me some great advice. He said to me, he said, I had a publisher, and he said, well, they don't, to be honest, in his experience, he said they don't always do the best job, and you can do it yourself now on social media, for a lot of time, effort and energy, maybe graphic designer costs and stuff, but you can do it yourself for essentially for free. So that's a lot of the ways that you can, and of course the stuff that, and we'll get into that in a minute because I haven't done the physical side of the launch yet, but definitely the digital side, we got to bestseller. Essentially, it was great because there was 28 times everything we were doing with 28 authors, but it was just posting stories, reels, literally like messages, texts, WhatsApps, everything, in every way. I was probably annoying people with the amount I was posting, but I had a goal and I wanted to achieve it, and we did achieve it. So that's like, I stopped caring about what people think about what I posted a long time ago. There's
absolutely
button for a reason there if you don't like it.
No, I agree. Like when it comes to marketing yourself, regardless if it's a book, your art, your songs, your projects, whatever it is, somebody's going to have an opinion about it regardless. If you post once, that could annoy somebody. If you post 10 times, that could annoy somebody. So do what you feel you need to do. I mean, as long as you're not hurting anybody intentionally, post what you want to post. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the posts should come with some kind of intention behind them and laying the narrative out of the story, picking different parts out. So although you're posting about the same thing and your call to action might be the same, join the live launch, join the event link, buy the book, but you're actually telling a different piece and part of the story each time. That's a good way to do it because it keeps people intrigued and it keeps people interested. So, but I don't think, I honestly don't think where we are at nearly 2023 in the world that people need big PR releases and big publishing companies because they take all your profit. They end up taking pretty much all of your profit.
Well, I think it boils down to what are your goals? Like you have to know what you're aiming for, right? And if your goal is you want to keep all of your profits, you want to be in control of everything, then sure, self-publish. Or whatever your goal fits under that self-publishing umbrella. But if you don't mind traditional publishing being control of majority of what you do, what you write, how the book looks, because you don't want to market everything yourself, which funny enough, most traditional authors still have to market their own books, then by all means, go traditional publishing. Like it just depends on what you want and what your goals are. I'm not knocking traditional publishing. I have author friends who did traditional publishing, they are happily, that's what they want to do, then that's great for them because that meets their goals. Me personally, I'm not about that life yet, should I say.
Well, there was another thing for us that was, of course, there's the proceeds of this book, and I'll be blunt, completely honest, we use the word proceeds because it can mean, we didn't use the words all proceeds or all profit because we have to cover the cost of the book. We're not doing this to be at a loss out of our own pockets. We're doing this to add value to the world
funny enough,
and support charity.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but like funny enough, because on one of my posts when I was sharing about Hunger for the Hustle, at the bottom it says proceeds going towards the charity, right? And I got a message from a close friend of mine, and they're like, "Hey, what do you mean by that?" And I had to tell, I was like, well, we have to cover the cost of the book. So we can't say all proceeds are going towards the charity because we got to pay for the book. And they were like, okay. So, yeah. So I did ask about that.
Me and Michael discussed that at length, and we were like, look, we've got to be careful how we word this. Because we want to be authentic, we want to be transparent, and say to people, look, proceeds, not all of them, a good heavy slice of them, we're making sure that the publishing's paid, we're making sure the
Yeah.
people who helped us with the publishing and you know, PAs, graphic designers and stuff like that are paid.
Yeah.
But we're covering the cost of the book. We're not doing it to make ourselves poor. We're doing it genuinely to help others, and then you know, proceeds are going to the charity. So for that reason as well, we couldn't go with traditional publishing because we just end up with nothing left at the end of it to be able to give to the charity. So there you go. So I think that's another reason why we didn't go traditional publishing. But you've gone to the next stage. We'll probably wrap up in about 5 minutes because I know it's late for me and you've got the rest of your day to go. But I think, you know, you got to that next bit where you've got physical book. And what did you find, if there was like one thing that did the most for you in that, give the most impact, what was that?
Paying for someone to know how to design a cover. That was definitely, by far, in my opinion, the biggest impact I had about doing the physical portion of my book. I like to draw. I like to doodle. I have sketchbooks all around the house where I draw from time to time. But I would never say that I'm a book cover artist. I would never claim that. I hired a company, Deranged Doctor Designs. They are phenomenal to work with. This is a free plug. They didn't hire me, sponsor me to say this stuff. They collab with you. You tell them what you want your cover to look like. They look at what the genre is. They amalgamate that all together, and then they throw you different ideas, and then you decide what you want your cover to look like. And all the time I get how beautiful my cover is. And they say don't judge a book by its cover, but people will judge you by your cover, by far. I can tell you that. It's just one of those things that I think that was my best takeaway from doing a physical book. It's just paying someone.
And your cover does look fantastic. It's got that. I like about yours. It's got that matte feel as well, which I like. It oozes quality. You know, when you've got that matte feel to it. Yeah. It was really interesting, the journey of how we found our book cover designer, and I totally agree with you. You know, you don't get a second chance to make a first impression, and
Agreed.
Quite literally, people will judge a book by its cover. So I think in that you have to make sure that you are doing it properly. You know, of course you could do it yourself, and within Kindle publishing, there's some stuff in the back end that they kind of, you can like make a cover on their site, which probably will kind of work if you're only doing a digital, but if you're doing like the actual physical book, then you're going to need a proper cover art designer.
Yeah. So I'm looking around because I'm looking for, where is it? There's some books, some journals that I had done as kind of like gag gifts to some political friends of mine. And now I don't even know where they are. They were right here on my desk, and now I don't see them. That's so weird. Sorry, and now I just took up all this time because I can't even find it. So
no, that's good. I was trying to find something over here to show the folks, but oh, here we go. I got it. I actually got it. I got what I was looking for. So let me. But how I came across our artwork designer, I had a gentleman who was doing. I randomly came across him on Instagram, and we started messaging, DMing on Instagram. Ended up doing some video work for me, and then we were talking about the book. I said, you know, I'm bringing a book out, and he said, oh well, my wife's actually a Grammy award-winning music art cover winner. You know, she's won Grammy awards for so Luisa Arango, who did our cover, she's won Grammys for her artwork on albums and stuff. Yeah. So that is who did our cover, and did a fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I love when you you were nice enough to share with me the cover, and for me to it already, first of all, it fit into your brand. That was the first thing. And then secondly, just the simplicity of it is still like, it's just, I love the cover. Like, it's just, maybe I should have her do my next one.
Yeah, perhaps. Well, she genuinely does a great job, right? Let's take a look at it right here just before we wrap up. But this is it right here. That's the front page here, of course. What you see on the right, that's the spine there, and then this is the back, which Michael was real keen to do this with everyone's pictures here.
Yeah.
I was actually not. I didn't think it was going to work, and I thought everyone's picture was inside the book anyway, so why did they need it on the back? But I'm actually quite glad we did it, because it turned out looking really good, and I think there was actually plenty of room to do it, and this is why it's important to team with the professional designer guys, because you need people who know how to work the space, and it's sometimes it's the use of that space and what they don't put in it.
Right.
If I'd done this stuff would be all. I would be like, well, we've got empty space there. We should fill it, and here, and here, and here. And why is there empty? But
right, exactly.
She knew what she was doing, and the key. There's stuff going on here that you have to look at and go, okay, right. So the key represents the fact that the book is your key to taking you through your own struggles to success.
Yeah.
And there's keys within the book that are going to unlock things for you to take you to a place that you otherwise we don't get to by yourself. So definitely team with someone who has done it before, who knows what they're doing, who can get the job done for you. And here he is right there, look, my man Jay Reace.
I'm right there, love it.
And everyone else in the book, Beatty Man, Aaron Grider, Barry Overton, Beata, Imani, Fernanda, Eric, Denise, David, Chucky, Jay, Janet, Jay, Joanna, it goes on and on and on. I don't have to reel them off. Do you know why? Because all of those at some point are going to come on this show. If they haven't been on there already, they will come back on. Yeah. And like I said, we're only just getting started. So thanks for coming on, man. I think we covered that well. I think we gave some value there to anyone that wants to bring a book out. The writing process isn't easy. You might come up against stops along the way, but keep at it. Keep at it. If you believe in what you're doing and you believe it has a purpose and you're going in with a good intention, just keep at it. Like anything, there'll be plenty of things that try and stop you.
Absolutely.
But you have to persist and keep on with it. And publishing, by all means, publish yourself or team up with someone if you think you got the budget and that you are willing to give some of that profit away to perhaps make it more successful. And then I also think that. I think a takeaway, do you reckon, Jay, has been surround yourself with the right people and work with the right people?
Yeah, in every aspect of life. As I personally would love to be my own island, but the fact of the matter is none of us are islands. We need people. We need teams, and you got to be able to collaborate with people to get certain tasks done, to reach certain goals, whether we like it or not. So make sure those people around you are worth your time and worth their salt. So.
On that note as well, Denise Nicholson and Amina Mohammed, they Bold Publishing. They are Amina Inspires is Amina Mohammed's company, and Bold Publishing is Denise Nicholson's company. They're the ones who helped us with our publishing. Shout out to you both. And if anyone's watching this and is coming with a book and wants some help to get it to where they want it to get to, give those ladies a shout, and I'm sure they will be able to help you. It's been wonderful. I've enjoyed having you on. The third time, it just gets better every time. And if you've enjoyed this, guys, type in Hunger for the Hustle, Jay Reace, Reace, and you'll see our other episodes. Jay's also got his own podcast that he's working on. Do you want to give that a plug before we go, Jay, or is that still in the works?
Absolutely. So across the pond and back again. I'm pairing up with my girl, Soph. We just talk about topics. She picks a topic, I pick a topic. We sometimes meet in the middle. Sometimes we just have a full-on battle royale and just don't agree. It's a good time. We go from serious to funny. It's hilarious.
Brilliant. Across the pond and back again. I'll look out for that. Sounds like... Will you be having guests on that, or...?
From time to time, we'll have a guest. It just depends on the topic and what we're doing. Or sometimes, maybe if we know a friend of ours wants to plug something like a #1 best-selling book, we'd be more than happy to bring people on from time to time, So
well, I'll wait for the invite.
Most definitely, man. You are always down for whatever project I'm on, so I'm always happy to bring you on board, man.
A team, do you know what? One thing I'll take away, we'll close up with this, a team-driven collaborative effort. That's the kind of thing you want to be amongst. We grow from people and projects is what we grow from. So
Absolutely.
The more of those you can be involved with, and the right ones are going to take you towards your goals. Yeah. Jay, it's been so good to have you on, brother. I hope you enjoy your Monday. I hope you have a great week ahead. And I hope all you guys too who have been watching, stay hungry, stay happy, stay healthy, and keep on hustling, folks. I hope you enjoyed the show.